Mr. Burgess, members of the board, we have several items for board discussion this evening. Our first item is Board of Education Professional Development. This time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Part of the goals that we came up with as a board was to have Board of Education Professional Development. And I know not everyone is available to travel out of town to go to professional development. So I was just kind of wanted to kick around this idea, see how the rest of the board feels that maybe we should bring it to us. Maybe set up a day like we used to have like a work session or a retreat, so to speak, and bring a professional in here and have that, have maybe a 2 to 3 hour development, have someone bring it to us. So I'm kind of open to ideas and see what you thought about that.
I think it's been a while since we've done that, but I thought it was worthwhile last time we did. I do remember that. Good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so maybe I'll work with Mr. Smith and then talk to OSBA. And is there a particular subject you're interested in? Maybe just general boardmanship? Any kind of other topic you'd like to hear about, or?
I always like to hear, are there other things that we can do to basically support the learning process? STEM education, those are a few things I like to do.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is maybe have you all look at your calendars to see, I'm assuming maybe it would be best on a weeknight. I don't want to come here on a weekend unless it's a snow day. But is this something we'd like to do before Thanksgiving? Or you want to do it, before Christmas? What kind of time frame would you be interested in looking at? Sooner the better, because we have a new board member. We can go over boardmanship standards. And do you want to shoot for something in November? That's kind of busy with marching band is still going on, so.
Like every weekend.
Look at something in December for the Christmas break.
December would be better.
Okay.
Flexible.
What do you think about that, Mrs. Gundry? December,
I
try to
think-
put something together.
Yeah, if we could do the earlier part of, the first half of December, the closer you get to the holiday breaks, the
Okay.
busier people get.
We'll find out some dates that.
Make it work, sure.
Maybe I'll throw some dates out there to see the early part of December. Is there a particular night of the week that is not good for anybody? I mean, obviously, we are on Thursday nights here. And maybe we should try to do it on a week that we're not meeting. So we meet on a Thursday, then we come back on the following Monday or Tuesday. Something to that effect.
I think Mondays or Tuesdays.
Mondays or Tuesdays are generally better.
Those are better.
So I'll see what we have Mondays and Tuesdays in December and reach out to OSBA and see when someone might be able to come down. We'll try to coordinate something and hopefully have something back, maybe not by the next meeting, but maybe by our November work session.
Okay.
Okay? That's great. I will do that. Okay, Mr. Smith?
All right. Our next item for discussion would be board policies. And I think Mr. Martin and Mr. Madden will be discussing those. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin, covering the first one.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The first policy I have for your discussion or share with you tonight is policy GBCC. It's called Staff Dress and Appearance. We currently do not have this policy. It's not a policy that's required, but it is a policy that OSBA does provide for us. And we had some discussion at a team level, and then we had further discussion with Mr. Clemens. And this is a very general policy, but we felt that as a school district, we would be stronger having the policy than not having it. Like I said, we don't currently have it, but it's general enough that if there are what we feel extreme violations of staff dress or appearance, it would give us something to be able to back up our conversations with people. So we submit policy GBCC for your consideration. Any questions about this one?
I thought it was really general and fairly subjective, but at the same time, you're really looking for, as you said, something to say as compared to
Right.
somebody who's really creating a problem in the workplace with their dress.
The next policy is policy IGAG. It's drugs, alcohol, and tobacco education. The policy itself has not changed. All that we're changing are the legal references. There are two that are being changed. That's the only change for this policy. Any questions about this one? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I do have a-
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael.
Do we need to include vaping? Is that what
That was
your
my question.
Oh, that's great. We don't in this policy, but there are 3 vaping policies that I'm currently working on
Okay.
to change, and they'll be coming up in the next month or two. We got in our last news release from OSBA that we need to change those policies. So they're on my desktop as we speak.
Okay. Way ahead of us, as usual, Mr. Martin. Thank you.
Not sure about that. Thanks.
All right. Next, we have Mr. Madden discussing several policies. I'll turn it over to Jeff. Mr. Madden.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Birdie, members of the board. Just 3 policies. One's a regulation in front of you. You've seen JECAA before. It was actually updated 2017, and minimal updates here with this piece, just really referencing the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. And you may recall with the implementation of ESSA, that homeless students have become a focal point, and we make sure that we are doing everything we can to provide care for those students. So this enrollment piece has been added there to make a reference to the McKinney-Vento Act. As a part of that, a bigger change, I guess, would be the regulation that follows that policy, which is JECAA-R. And there's an enrollment dispute resolution process that every school district has to have, which would provide us guidance on how, if there was ever a dispute with a parent about whether or not they were homeless or not, and the services that they would provide. ODE provides us a model dispute resolution process, and this is what we're presenting to the board as adopting that process as part of our regulation. Conceptually, it's similar to what the other process was. It's just a different set of words and a slightly different process. But again, that's ODE's model for that process on how a dispute regarding homelessness would be resolved. The third policy for discussion is policy JEE, student attendance and accounting. There was an update in a previous policy on attendance related to this, and in that policy update, it stated that the district was going to make an attempt within the first 120 minutes to notify the parents that their child is not at school. It's really been a practice we've had for years. It's now in law, it has to be in our policy. This is a related policy that the OSBA has asked us to include. So nothing really significant in terms of that change, just adding that into this additional policy referencing missing and absent children. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions?
Just have a comment. I think it's going to be interesting that this 120 minutes, they're siblings and they're in 2 different schools, and they've colluded to go watch a movie someplace.
Yeah.
That this parent, we find about the first child half an hour before the second child is not in school, so.
We don't have any of that, Mr. Burke.
Okay. I never did that when I was younger either, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, our last item for discussion, very exciting item, very popular item around the district these days. I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin so he can talk about the school calendar for the 2021 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and this is a very exciting topic. I'm thrilled to be able to bring to you finally the school calendar for 2020, 2021, and I feel like I owe some explanation to the public why this calendar has taken so long. In the past, we were doing calendars 3 years in advance, and our venue for graduation got new management and changed their procedures in giving us dates for graduation. In order to do the calendar, we have to set the graduation date first, and then we work backwards, because if graduation isn't held within a week of the students being let out, so many of them go off either on vacation, or they go off into the military service or police academies, and they're not here for graduation. So that's an important date. So now we'll be getting a calendar about this time every year for the following school year, as long as that procedure holds in our graduation venue. This calendar, before it's coming to you tonight, it's gone through a number of groups. We've asked for input from Labor Management Committee with our teachers union. It's gone to the joint PTCs that meet. It's gone to our administrative team and to our principals to take a look at as well. So it's been through quite a few eyes already. I think this is a wonderful calendar. I think everybody will be happy about this calendar. I'll probably get some calls tomorrow about it then, but it is a good calendar. We did a survey 2 years ago asking the public what they wanted to see in a calendar, and they said that they would like school to start in the 3rd week of August, so that's when we're starting. August 17th, the teachers report. August 19th, the students report. That's on a Wednesday, so they have a short first week. We've added something. I know Mr. Smith's really excited about this. He was a big advocate of having a fall break, which is just a long weekend in the fall. And so we've got that scheduled October 16th through 19th. It's a Friday through a Monday. And that was also a point that was asked in the survey, and the community was really excited and voted overwhelmingly to include a fall break. We have our normal 3 days off at Thanksgiving. In December, our winter break is now 2 weeks long. And once again, the survey that we took, the community said they would like a minimum of 2 weeks off for the winter break, if at all possible. I'm not sure we can do that every year, but we'll get as close to it as we possibly can. But in 2020, we will be having a 2-week winter break. Our spring break starts on Monday, March 29th. Spring break is held every year and has been for many, many years in Fairfield. It's held the week that has April 1st. So whatever week April 1st falls in, that will be our spring break. The last day for seniors, May 24th. The last day for all students would be May 27th. The last day for teachers, May 28th. And graduation's the following day at the Centos Center at Xavier University on May 29th. It's a Saturday this year, or that year. Any questions or discussion about this calendar?
No.
All right, we are, I appreciate you letting us have this discussion in open meeting. We always have to ask if there is any input from the community or anyone else present. I know there aren't a lot of people here, but any other input from the calendar? We're good. Thank you very much.
I do have a question, and just in general, not about this particular calendar. Has there ever been consideration to change venues? I mean, that's a great venue. I love going to Centos, but to accommodate us extending the calendar out more years, or?
We could always consider it. I haven't heard any discussion about that. That is an arrangement that the high school does take care of. But we could certainly have discussion around it.
I'm not requesting it, I'm just throwing it out there. If the district would like to have more calendars out there
Right.
for parents to prepare, maybe a change of venue for graduation may be the answer we need.
Right.
And if more and more schools do that, then maybe the Centos will then go back to their old ways of, because districts
I would love that.
our size do need to plan many years out. It's not,
Right.
we can't just say, oh, yeah, let's go down to Sharonville, and we need that big arena.
And we have had calls during the summer and even in the last couple of weeks of people asking about the calendar and when it would be approved. So I know our community would like to have it earlier if at all possible. I know we did years ago use Miami, which wasn't air conditioned. I'm not sure if it's air conditioned now or not.
I think it is now.
I think it is. I think
Wasn't
this
when
is
I graduated either.
definitely something we could explore. I will say this, Xavier does such a great job with our ceremony that I think that ceremony is so important for all stakeholders, and you just want it to be the best. I think districts are reluctant because Xavier provides such an outstanding venue, and they work with you. It's you want it to be perfect, and so I think that's probably why districts will continue to go back there and deal with that inconvenience, because they're nervous about changing venues and having issues that they haven't had because they've worked with Xavier for so long. I mean, I know it used to be years ago when I was there, it didn't feel like they had that many ceremonies, and now, they're having 2 to 3 a day sometimes, I think, and I think it's because word is spread around, like, this is a great venue, they work with you, they make sure everything's perfect, but certainly something, we can explore as we look at future calendars and ceremonies, but I think that's probably why that they've had to go to that, is because they've earned an outstanding reputation over the years.
I agree with you. I think they do a tremendous job.
Yeah.
It's really convenient for families, and they do it so well, like you said.
Yeah.
So many schools like going there,
Yeah.
and probably some schools get shut out from going there.
I probably
So
do.
I think it's great that we can continue to go there. I'm just saying that if
Sure.
that's something that we need to do to extend our calendar,
Right.
I'm not opposed to it.
Sure.
But I'll leave that in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always, we're flexible. That's what we say. That's our company line, flexible.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.